Yolopark was kind enough to send over some brand new AMK miniseries figures. This is Wave 2. Honestly, the AMK miniseries is something that I enjoyed when it first came out. I genuinely have kind of forgotten it was a thing because it's been so long. But here we have Wave 2. Very excited to see what we have going on here. If you do want to use my promo code, you can save yourself some money on AMK stuff on Yolopark's website. There is the promo code right there. I did check. It does work for these AMK minis if you want to save yourself a little bit of money and support the channel at the same time. It came in this fancy dancy case. Let's go ahead and open it up, see what we have going on. Oh, wow. Very nice shiny boxes. All right, let's pull out the middle one. Let's see who we have first. And first up we have, looks like we've got a little Arcee figure. Looks like the whole wave has Rodimus, Hound, Jazz, Cliffjumper, Arcee, and Prowl. Very Autobot heavy. Definitely missing some Decepticons, but hey, this is still a very cool looking figure. Let's cut it open. One thing I have to say too, these boxes are much, much smaller than the original ones. Wave 1, the boxes were pretty big. Looks like we do have a very nice little collector card right here. Oh wow, is there like a Build-A-Figure in this wave? Is this a Build-A-Figure thing going on? Because this is like a clear green Hound? Okay. I love Hound, and I would definitely take him in clear green. Hopefully we get the rest of the parts for this. But that's looking very cool so far. And then I'm going to guess that our figure and its pieces are going to be in this nice shiny silver bag. So like I do with some other figures I take a look at, I'm going to build one of them on camera, and the rest I will just jump cut to when they are built. Alright, so it looks like Arcee has a decent amount of little pieces here. I'm going to try to build it without the instructions. I'm going to see if I'm skilled enough. Because I think I understand the character design of Arcee enough. I should be able to do it without instructions. I do have to say, it does seem pretty nice and solid. I remember the first wave wasn't as intricate. It had ball-jointed shoulders, but this actually has like a hinge and swivel, which is pretty impressive. And then looks like we have drop-down thighs. Wow, we're going to have drop-down hips. All right, we're making progress. Next thing we've got to do is put on little backpack parts. And that seems to be pretty self-explanatory right there. Then we have her dainty little arms. It's actually surprising how thin this figure is. But it seems to be a pretty nice representation of G1 Arcee. Oh, tons of alternate hands. That's very nice. Go ahead and give her one blaster. Then we'll give her one open hand. Oh, she actually does come with two blasters, though, if you want her dual wielding. That's pretty cool. We're almost done already. Pretty basic build, but it definitely seems like she is pretty successful at what she's doing. Just got to get the little feet on. This is a very, very nice looking figure. Not only is it nice looking, but it's very nice feeling as well. It does have some pretty tight joints here and there, but once you get them worked out, I think they're going to move pretty smooth. I definitely do enjoy the silhouette and everything. Like, it seems to capture the character of Arcee pretty well. You can see the articulation as I'm moving it. Like, it's pretty poseable. Looks like I can get a pretty nice kneeling pose. Can you get her holding the gun with two hands? Looks like you can, because she has a lot of, like, across the torso range. Yeah, that's looking really nice. Get her pointing the gun straight out. Yeah, that's looking good. This is very impressive, especially comparing it to some of the Wave 1 AMK minis. Like, here's an Optimus Prime. You can see the Optimus, like, it just has, like, standard ball joints at the shoulders. It doesn't feel as, like, refined as this Arcee does. You can see it still has, like, pins and everything in the similar places that Arcee does. But I don't know, I'm thinking Yolopark might have stepped up their game a bit with these AMK minis Wave 2. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the next ones bring, because Arcee, you know, she is a female character. She's got a very different build from the rest of the Autobots, so maybe she is just the standout. But I'm definitely hoping that this trend continues. All right, next up, pulling from the middle again, looks like we have, oh yeah, Rodimus Prime. Looks like we are going to have ourselves a clear Hound Build-A-Figure, because Rodimus comes with the waist. 12 centimeters, Rodimus Prime then. And yeah, you can definitely tell this is Rodimus Prime and not Hot Rod, because he just has that presence to him. He has that added height, that added presence, and you can just tell. You can tell. It's funny, we don't get a lot of Rodimus Prime stuff. It's mostly just Hot Rod. But this is a really nice figure of Rodimus. He actually has some pretty decent articulation. He does have the trigger-happy shoulders, if that's something that's going to bother you. But I think they did that so they wouldn't, like, really get in the way of the wings on the back. He also has double jointed elbows, which is very nice. And he has 2 guns this time around, kind of like how Arcee did. I noticed how they don't want to fit in the best. They don't want to push down all the way, but you can kind of get him in there. Overall, I do think this is a very nice little figure of Rodimus. Definitely not my favorite, again, but I'm digging it. I think his head sculpt is okay. I think a lot of these have had pretty decent face sculpts, but his definitely has a little bit of the vibe of the first wave, where he's just kind of, yeah. Next up, we have Cliffjumper. This one's looking very cool. Again, I love these nice little shiny boxes. Cliff gives us a leg of our Build-A-Figure Clear Hound. So this Cliffjumper, I'm not gonna lie, is actually really, really cool. So I've always been a big fan of Cliffjumper, you know, just the fact that he's a red bumblebee, essentially. It's appealed to the repaint fan in my heart. And this Cliffjumper, as far as I can tell, is a totally different figure than the bumblebee they had in Wave 1. It feels fantastic. I really do think they've upped the quality on Wave 2. The bazooka's really nice. It has a little bipod. Actually has a hinge in the handle, so you can reposition it. So he can have Megatron dead center in his viewfinder. Even though, like, there's not really much of a viewfinder. He looks great. I really do think they've improved the face sculpts as well on this second wave. The first wave, some of the faces were pretty bad. But hey, this is definitely looking nice. I'm definitely digging it. You can kind of see how the articulation and posability is going on Cliffjumper. It actually has a lot of nice, like, forward at the ankle, which is surprising. So that might benefit if you want him kind of doing, like, a bit of a kneel pose. They might have done that so he can, you know, have Megatron dead center in his viewfinder. Maybe that's why they did that. But either way, this is a very nice Cliffjumper and definitely a figure I'm impressed with from Yolopark. All right, halfway through, looks like we got Jazz. I've never been the biggest fan of Jazz until recently, so I'm definitely excited to get my hands on this guy. So with Jazz, we get an arm and an accessory for our Hound. So we can go ahead and put this on his shoulder. And then which arm is this? This looks like the left arm. Ooh! Oh, I didn't like that noise. So our Hound is half complete. And so far, I'm not going to lie, this might actually be my favorite figure of the wave. Good old Jazz. Like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jazz in my, like, earlier collecting days. I ended up with, like, some weird figures of him that weren't really conventional for the collection, and I always wished it was a different character. But as time's gone on, I've learned to appreciate Jazz, and especially accept him as the second in command of the Autobots, and at least at the start. And this is a very, very nice figure. He does have the ball-jointed shoulders, which actually do work pretty decently for him, but surprisingly, he's got double-jointed elbows. Like, that's really impressive. Pretty much none of the others I've seen so far have had double-jointed elbows, but Jazz has double joints. The rest of the articulation's pretty standard, what you would expect with an AMK Mini. He actually has a little bit of hip skirt action as well. That'll move out of your way. But yeah, when it comes to a fun figure of Jazz, this is definitely an awesome little interpretation of him in non-transforming form. Yolopark, like I've been saying, they've definitely upped the game with their second wave of the minis. Alright, 2 left. Looks like this one is Prowl. Always been a big fan of Prowl. Looking forward to this one. Prowl has the other leg to our clear Hound, so ironically, we're going to finish Hound with Hound. Good old Prowl. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet, I love how all of them say 11 centimeters, Prowl. Yeah, this is a very nice looking figure. Interestingly, one of the only ones with a silver face. All the rest of the figures have had like gray faces, except for the Build-A-Figure Hound, which also has a silver face. Yeah, this is a nice looking Prowl. He does have like the car feet, which I've always loved on Prowl, where his feet are essentially just the back bumper of the car. It kind of gives you the illusion you might be able to transform this guy just because there's so much car visible right there. But his articulation is pretty standard for these guys. His shoulders are ridiculously tight, and they're really tight to get in, too, when I was building him. But it still kind of gets the job done, even though he definitely has some tight joints. You can move around his shoulder cannons if you want those out of the way, and his little wings are on ball joints and hinges, so you get a lot of range of articulation with his little door wings, even though if you leverage them just the slightest wrong way, they're popping off. overall, definitely digging this Prowl. I don't think he's my favorite, but I definitely do enjoy this as someone who is a Prowl fan. And like I said, our last figure... Oh, looks like you get a card for our clear Hound loose in the case. That's actually kind of cool. But our last figure is going to be Hound to complete Hound. And sure enough, our normal Hound comes with the arm, the hands, and the handheld gun for our clear Hound. So, with that, here it is. Here's our Build-A-Figure, all said and done. And yeah, this is awesome. I absolutely love the look of this. It makes sense for Hound's powers as well, you know? This is very, very nice, and I do have to say, I really think they've upped the quality with the second wave here. Like, the plastic feels better, the articulation seems a little bit more fluid. I'm definitely digging what Yolopark has done with this recent wave of AMK minis. This clear Hound is definitely up there among one of my favorites. But hey, let's go ahead and see what he looks like next to the opaque Hound. 2-for-1 wombo combo. We've got Hound and we have transparent version Hound. Definitely interested to see how these turned out. And yeah, the normal Hound looks very nice, but I do think I prefer the translucent one. I'm sorry. I just think I do. They are exactly the same figures from head to toe. They're exactly the same, but obviously one is opaque and one is transparent. Very, very obvious difference. Since we've looked at that clear one already, just want to go over this one. I definitely appreciate the ball joint and the hinge at the shoulder on this mold. I definitely think it benefits, even though it is kind of easy to pop out because that bicep swivel is a bit tight. He does have a nice little hinge at the shoulder, and he also has a very nice looking head sculpt. I really do like the sculpt on this one. I do think overall my favorite figure is Hound. I do think it is, because out of all these Autobot characters, the one that I've probably personally had the most attachment to throughout the years is Hound. But this isn't my favorite. This is my favorite. I honestly didn't know that there was a Build-A-Figure going into this. And I think it's really cool, and it's a fun way to just get an extra little thing. I would love to see this moving forward with Yolopark products. Like, even AMK stuff. Like, just a normal AMK, just throw in a Build-A-Figure. Why not? I think it's a lot of fun, and it definitely adds a lot of extra value to this set. So overall, what do I think of Yolopark AMK Mini Wave 2? I think it is a definite improvement and upgrade over Wave 1. Honestly, Wave 1 was probably some of Yolopark's weakest work throughout the years. It definitely just felt lower quality than everything else. It wasn't super comparable to their standard AMKs, or especially the Pros. But I feel like AMK Wave 2 here kind of is. They're just smaller. You know, they're obviously simpler builds, they don't have as much engineering and articulation, but they're far more posable than Wave 1. I do think this is definitely a step in the right direction that this little Yolopark subline has going for it. I would love to see some more Decepticons. We got a lot of pretty big Autobot players in this wave. I mean, Arcee, Jazz, Rodimus, Cliffjumper, like, those are some pretty big names. I mean, even Hound and Prowl are pretty significant Autobots. Overall, I definitely do enjoy this set of figures, and if this is something that you're interested in, hey, check out my link below. Definitely something that if you think you'll like, I think you'll like. This is a lot of fun, and especially with all the options we have in the non-transforming Transformers figure scene, I think the Yolopark AMK Mini stuff, it wasn't initially one of the better options, but I think with Wave 2 here, they're definitely proving that they can make some pretty good little figures. Well, guys, there we go. Let me know what you think again down in the comments below. I gotta give Yolopark a special thanks for this one, for sending these out for review, but I also have to thank you guys, the channel members. Thank you all so much for the continued support. I did actually change the channel membership a little bit. I will be adding some new exclusive content. Hopefully you guys enjoy, but also there is now a channel member exclusive Discord if you want to join in on that. Just becoming a channel member gets you the invite link, and yeah, you can go ahead and chat with a nice little community of people. I've tried the open Discord and it was not working out. So yeah, there we go. Check out links below. Check out channel membership if you want to become a member. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.